is going to be your assessment tracking that we're going to take after each assessment that we are taking. So there'll be 4 in total for Priority Standard 3, 4 for Priority Standard 2, and then Priority Standard 1 I usually just give feedback for, so we're probably not going to do the tracking there with this Google form. But we're going to focus on Priority Standard 3 today because that's the activity that we're going to do to make sure that we can perfect that writing. So for this, you have to go and find your assessment, which is graded over in Google Classroom. You're going to have to go to Classwork, scroll all the way down to week 3, and then go to Friday 9/25 PS3 FA1. It should say graded. If it says missing still, or or you attach it as if you didn't attach it here, you might have attached it as an email, so you have to go back and find the email. But I wanted you to attach it here. If it's missing, it's pretty easy for you today because you just go here and you press I refuse to take it or was absent. So you need to email me, and you go back to your email and email me. Everyone else, though, you should have at least a 0.5. I'll show you why I got a 0 in a second, but you're going to open up that assessment right here to see the details. Now, what you'll see is more than just this, because you wrote me at least a sentence and probably got 0.5. For this, you are going to look at my suggestions that I gave and notice where I had any errors or where I bolded things. That means that things were wrong. But what I want you to do today for the tracking is look at the rubric. So scroll down in the rubric. You should have a total score up top. Now, in this case, I'm going to say I got a 0.5 just for the fun of it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark that I got a 0.5. I'm going to understand why I received that grade. Do I understand it? Yes, I do. I didn't write anything. And if you don't, please write other and tell me why it is that you have a question about this and advocate for yourself, because I'm totally open to understanding your point of view on why you should receive a higher grade or lower one. And then you're going to go through each of these little standards right here and the little check mark or X's that you might have gotten. So the first one is incorporate some more topic-related vocab. And notice there's 3.2.1s, and that's because there's 3 little categories here. So I got X's in all 3, so I'm going to mark no, no, and then I'm going to say, what did I miss if I got an X or if I got a kind of? And you're going to have to look back. You might have to look through the scenario and see and figure that out. And if you're unsure, you can write unsure. But if you did get a yes, so if you got check marks on these, just write NA. That doesn't apply to you, right? You got the check. Cultural reference was a big one that most of us did not include. That's because now for a 2.0, you have to have a cultural reference about a Spanish-speaking country or a city in a Spanish-speaking country. So what kind of things can you mention for your next one, which will be about daily routine? So maybe I'll look into El Salvador's daily routines, right? Blah, blah, blah. Now, I'm going to go through each one. Notice here I gave an example of what the minus looks like. If you got 3 little dots, that means you got a minus, so you're going to mark the kind of. And then you're going to tell me what mistakes you made because you didn't get a check on that, etc. So each one of these are required questions. Please fill out each one. It'll take a second at first. Notice here I got a check, so I can mark a check right there. And then I'm going to mark NA because I got a check. Now when I go next, then it's going to tell me, did I at least get a 2.0 on this assessment, yes or no? If I said no, it's going to take me somewhere different than if I said yes. So that will depend on your score to see if you are there yet with a 3.0, etc. And it's going to tell you what kind of things to practice. Spend at least 5 minutes afterwards practicing the things that you mark. And then go ahead and head to the next activity so we can focus on the PS3 writing. But really take a moment and say, what kind of things am I going to work on next time for the assessment? Now remember, if you don't understand why you received a certain grade or where it is that you're at, please reach out to me, as I'd love to explain that. It's really hard not being able to be in person and explain why your score is the way that it is. Not having that opportunity. So hopefully this makes sense. It will take a second the first time around because you'll have to read through everything, but then the second, the third, and the fourth time we do it, it'll be a lot faster.